All right. Shalom and welcome. Tonight we are going to go over the ancient Chinese secret. It is actually called the white peony. It sounds like penny almost, but it's peony. And what it is, if you can see here, this actually come from China. I know some people get worried about that, but this is one of the purest forms that I could find of it. Now, the great thing about this, like I said, a lot of it to many of us so-called Westerners, it is a secret. It's something that is hard to find. It's something hard to obtain, something to actually get a hold of because of, I guess, regulations and things of that nature of what our problem actually is getting a hold of these. And it took me quite a while to even find it. And I've looked for various different herbs. There's, supposedly 200, 300,000 plus ones across the earth. And these are just growing plants, bark, things of that. As you can see here, it's basically just a tree bark. So going off of this is where we find how to help our bodies heal itself. Our bodies naturally heal itself, but we sometimes need a little bit of tree bark, if you will, something to actually help us out with this. So this is one of those things that the ancients have been using for 2,000-3,000 years that they know of. And right from the beginning, the reason I found this is I was looking for something to address, because you can't say cure, something to address cancer, lymphoma, leukemia. And running across this in the last year or two is where I found this out. And it is very surprising that this is one of the things that they actually use in China to do this with, it's actually tested on certain types of those cancers, if you will. So the problem becomes, why do we not know it? Because we obviously don't have the knowledge and the things, just like the scriptures. That's why a lot of people say, well, that makes, what's this got to do with the Bible? What's this got to do with scriptures? But in the scriptures, he said, my people were destroyed for lack of knowledge. So I believe this is one of those things that if we're not careful, that we get in, trouble or not knowing how to help our body, especially in today's world of what we run into, with all the pesticides and problems and things that are in our food that we're dealing with. It seems to just be, almost inevitable that we're going to have some kind of problem eventually going wrong. So with all that being said, hopefully we can get down to business here and I can find what I'm looking for. I always seem to have 40 things open because I'm always searching. It's either scriptures or something like this. But without any further blabbering, let's go. The white peony is named the Peonia laciflora Paul, which, a lot of people. But the thing that we need to know that, and why we need to know that, is because if you're buying it, you need to know the actual name. Because if you don't have that actual name that is on it, and its purest form, they can be selling you sand off of Biloxi Beach, right? And you don't want that. But it could be what you're going to get if you don't know these technical names. And a lot of them I found even on, other places that in the ingredients, they have that. If you look them up, you will see these technical names are their actually real name, I guess we should say. So it grows in East Asia, it grows in China, and many parts of the world. The other garden names are garden Chinese and Baishou or Baishouel, right? So a lot of times, again, people get upset where it came from, or are you worried about this, worried about that? But when you have something really wrong and you're really trying to fix it, then your worries of where it comes from, other than the purest form, that's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about, I'm more worried about being taken or buying, like I said, Biloxi sand off the beach than I am worried about who sells it, especially when you do some research about China, about these other countries. They won't even put in the additives into their food that we do. So that says a lot, I think, in itself. So for more than 1,000 years, this dried root they used in Chinese medicine. And I've done some research and study on this, and they have been using it. Like I said, there is tests and studies you can look up because there's, hours of it, but there's tests and studies of this and them using this for various different things and even cancers. It also destroys parasites and things like that, supposedly as well. But from my studies, parasites and cancers are not the same thing. Parasites can be killed with red clover, with, 2 or 3 other things. Wormwood, taking over about a month, will destroy all your parasites if you're taking it right, using the truest form. And I've seen people take these things and it doesn't cure their cancer. It doesn't stop their cancer. So that leads me to believe that that is not a parasitic, especially in, a lot of, there's cancers that eat the body. There's cancers that, I've seen people with their nose, part of their nose missing. It's a black cancer. There's other cancers that grow. There's tumors, thyroid. I mean, there's all kinds of, I think the biggest thing with that, and the reason why I'm addressing that, because like I said, this is one thing that is supposedly, and I just, basically got to say that this is one thing that is supposedly stops and kills that cell at a cellular level. And that's where you want to take it out, because if you don't take it out there, then where can you get, even with chemotherapy, it would destroy tumors, it would destroy cancer, but sometimes it leaves a residue, it leaves something in it, which that's why it comes back and these things happen. So with all that being said, the best thing, to my knowledge, is something that will destroy, and your body will destroy, and your body will recognize it and help it to destroy it. And that is not just what this does, but wait, there's more, right? Let's see what we have here. Oh, wow, really? Well, hey, instead of me having to research all this, you could have just sent me some. So it's good for estrogen. It's good for many different ailments as well. It's different than, right? So it's different, or different, got me reading this here, but it's good for many different things. And that's what I love to find out is, instead of just one thing, like an aspirin, you take an aspirin for this, and but you got to take something stronger for a toothache. You got to take stronger. So instead of it being just covering one thing, I found with a lot of these, they cover multiple things. They handle a lot of different problems. Now, here's a great one that I wonder why we haven't heard of this for people that's on Ritalin and on ADHD and all these different things. And we kind of know a lot of what that is as well. But anxiety, depression, and also to calm people down. It has a relaxing additive, or not additive, but I'm so used to the additives and everything. It is actually a natural, what is naturally in it, not an additive. If I can slow down and speak for a second. The white root is used to treat anxiety and depression. And it has been tested on rats. It has been tested on people, but it basically, they're saying that the people and the rats, I don't know how you tell if a rat's happy or not, but I can understand people, I guess if he's, anyway, you got to have fun with it. The chemical that contributes to happiness as the well-being. So it can be broken down and recycled. So a lot of this is what we find is, again, it gives you a better sense. Now, why and where does that come from? A lot of times it comes from your body, the oxygen level. Your body's getting rid of detoxifications, and that's why you feel better. It's not like a drug type of thing, right? Oh, yeah, they know. They know very well these things, and that's why it's so hard to find, and it's not on the shelf of Walmart, right? Because if you could go buy some of these, a lot of problems would be solved. I truly believe that. So the probiotics for your gut, which may improve your balance and your gut bacteria. Like I said before, a lot of people think that colon cancer and this kind of cancer are from a bacteria or from a virus. But if that's true, some of these things, the clay, the different ones that you run through your body would destroy that. I mean, immediately. Damascus clay destroys them on contact, right? So things like that, we have to, yeah. You can tell a rat's happy. You just ask him, are you happy? And he's like, it's got a height. No, I'm just joking. Anyway, but depression, anxiety, and all these things that we see, and sadly, even with children, we see these children, they're putting on all kinds of drugs because of all the problems that they're having. And just imagine if you could just put some of this in their Cheerios in the morning and at night, instead of drugs and harsh things that are just going to lead to usually liver problems, kidney problems, and all these other disorders. This also contains gliosides or gliosicides, depending on how your herbal. There are compounds with the carbohydrates attached, and this includes the pantofluorine, among other compounds. So a lot of these things within the things that Yahweh created, the flowers, the bark, the roots, all these things, there's so much in them. And this is just, I've only been doing this, 2 years, give or take. And these things just blow my mind. And maybe because it's personal, when you find out things that are, that cure other things and do other things, then it's, when it's personal, I guess there's a difference. So let's go down. I'm rheumatoid arthritis, all these different things that are caused that we see the commercials for, right? The psoriasis, all these problems that we see that people have, that this is the answer. Now, is it for the answer for everybody? But a lot of people can try. A lot of people, I believe, and especially the bang for your buck. Time you go to a doctor and go mess with them and try to get the right thing. And usually they're going to give you some steroid or some cream or something like that. That's, is it going to help out, or is it going to have a long lasting thing? Where a lot of these, some of them you're only supposed to take for 14 days. And then a lot of them are really made, or the dosage and how you take them should be short term, unless there's something very serious. A lot of this is just to bring your body back to where it should be, right? Arthritis, kidney disease, liver disease, a lot of these things as well are liver. Once your liver starts getting older, or alcohol, or whatever whatever, all the Mountain Dews or whatever that we've had run through our liver and brought this disease, usually goes to the kidney. And then usually this is a cause of arthritis, cirrhosis, all these other diseases or problems, because it's your body trying to tell you, hey, you've been poisoning me with this garbage for like 20 years, and now it's time to pay the piper, if you will, right? So a lot of these things that we have been doing, it's telling us, what we're needing something. Because a lot of times if we didn't have or if we just use these, some of these other countries, Indonesia, different these countries, they use their plants and their different ones for them in their food, right? Yes, for men, for a lot of this stuff is just really helpful for the body overall. Let's see if we can get a little bit for blood flow. Now, this is another thing I found out with blood flow. A lot of people are worried to death about high blood pressure, but I found some people have low blood pressure. And I found low blood pressure causes disease as well, because obviously, hello, doctor, but, obviously that causes problems because your body's not getting the oxygen, the nutrients, and the things that it should get. Well, if it can't get this and you have a lower blood pressure or a lower oxygen level, and these are things that you can buy at Walmart. You can buy one of those it's a little oxygen level. It's in the other room. Put it on your finger and it tells you where your oxygen is. And a lot of times that will tell you where your body is as well. So if you need more oxygen and you need more blood pressure and you need these things, that helps your body, right? So it helps your body overall, the more oxygen. And there's even people that use can't speak tonight for some reason. I guess I took too much of this, but too much blood to the head. The hyperbaric chamber for cancer and for those things, because that blood flow. So when you get that blood flow and you get it working correctly, it helps you and it helps your body. Right. It may be because that blood flow, it just means so much, and to make it personal, like I said before, I think Stephanie's blood pressure was like really low in the 80s, 70, and really, really low. So when it's that low, you need to do something about it, I believe. So we started finding out different things, and a lot of it's research, is praying and researching and just finding out what it is. Let me see, get somebody trying to get in the room here. Well, but it's really what your body is telling you. And a lot of times we don't know, even though we know, if that makes sense, right? Your body's telling you through your blood pressure, through different ways, it's trying to let you know that there's something going on. Yes.
Is that yes for me?
Yes.
Okay. Did you just say something about a blood monitor to check the oxygen in your blood? Or what is it that you just mentioned? You said it was in the other room.
Oh, okay. It is actually oxygen meter, and it just goes on your finger and it checks your oxygen level.
Your blood oxygen? Your blood oxygen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it checks your blood oxygen. It tells you how much. There we go. Oh, you can do it. It's just a little thing. I think it's like $20 at Walmart. And this is what it looks like. And you put that on your finger and it just tells you. It takes a minute or so.
Oh, okay. All right.
It tells you how much oxygen is in there. And I forget what the levels are, but it's supposed to be
it
at
probably
least
comes with a little thing, doesn't it? Like a guide.
Yeah. Yes,
that's pretty good. Yeah. 98, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it comes with a little guide, and if it's so low, I think hers was down to 56 last year. You're supposed to even they want you to go in the hospital and everything, but we knew what would happen if we did that. So we just kept taking, the different things and praying, of course.
And it helped?
Yes.
It improved? Good.
Yes. Melissa, you had a question?
Two things. When you said her blood pressure was 70, are you talking about the top number or the bottom number?
I'm talking about the top number. No.
And as far as the oxygen level goes, I know someone that bought an oxygen machine for puppies and it really worked. I don't know where she got it, but she ordered it online. I know it was a couple $100.
Right. Yeah, it was her top. It was 76 over, I think, 56. It wasn't, it was not something you want to see or deal with. But I mean, we're trying our best to do what we can. We're not totally against, the doctor. I mean, but we're trying to do what we can with what we have to our best of our ability. We still have to use different things, different doctors, blood tests, things like that. But yeah, I mean, the thing with most of these, I'm also found another machine or another tester meter that I had to order again from China because I can't find it even at the drugstores here. And one of the drugstores I went to will not, wouldn't order it for me for some reason. So, but it's called a HDL and LDL marker and tester. And according to some more research about this blood flow and all this, that this is another problem that causes what I'm trying to figure out, what I'm trying to keep from happening. And, with us, and that's what all this is about, is he says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So what I'm trying to figure out is how can we stop bigger problems, right? As we get older, we know our bodies start slowing down. They start getting, not doing the oxygen levels. My dad's oxygen level is, I think, in the 70s. His blood pressure's way high. But through this, he actually went to a doctor and it was 120 over 86 or something like that. And they were like, you don't have high blood pressure. But he wanted the pills. But there is the whole point of that is this stuff works. I've seen it work. And to keep things from getting worse and to possibly help the body and anybody who will listen of these things, right? So this is another, I believe, a very important one that it's been used for years and they've, it just does so much. Now, the benefits and the lack of sufficient evidence to date, it has been proven to help. Sweating. I know some ladies, women, not too many guys, but some ladies have a problem sweating. And, through sweating, although some people don't like that, but through sweating, it's another way of your body to detoxify itself. So to get rid of these things helps, right? Now, the other things that we see that all these things, that's why I say with my little baby spoon that I love so much, is I recommend with all these, if you get it, that you just take that little baby spoon, if you will, and not a great big spoon, because the little baby spoon, the little guy here, it is just about enough. What I find from my own findings is it's enough to your body knows what it's getting. It knows it's getting something, but at the same time, it's not going to, send you to the hospital or do something terrible wrong. It's probably, may give you a little bit of a stomach ache or a little bit of a problem, but nothing so excessive that it's going to be, do any real damage unless you're real allergic to it. But again, a lot of this stuff, tree bark, flowers, things of this nature, but people are allergic to peanuts and things as well. Do we have any other questions? I'll do one more. The side effects: excessive bleeding, diarrhea, digestive stomach. And again, what I found is people that just take too much. If you take my dad, for example, again, takes 2 spoonfuls of things, and that's why some of this I don't even suggest to some people or won't. That's why I don't sell it and all that either, because I don't know what they're going to do with it, and I don't know how they're going to handle it. So what I try to do is just share the wealth, share the knowledge of what's going on, and use that. Yes, Vicky.
Just a minute ago, you mentioned HDL and LDL. Would you repeat that? What did you mean?
There is
Say that again,
there
please.
is there's markers that your body, what I'm finding out, your body gives out like your high cholesterol and your low cholesterol. I'm probably going to do a whole nother thing on that on another night, but there's a meter that tells that you can order, and it tells your high cholesterol and your LDL, your HDL and your LDL. And within them, supposedly diseases like lymphoma, leukemia, and these diseases can be tracked and preferably stopped before it gets so high, because supposedly once it like lymphoma, for lymphoma specific is your lymph nodes. Your lymph nodes can't handle too much cholesterol. Your cholesterol gets so high that now gets stuck in your lymph nodes, and then your lymph nodes explode, and then that becomes what they call cancer. Your
Right.
body
It gets
just starts
clogged, kind of.
right, but it's actually a clogging, not a cancer, as far as the way I
Right.
look at it. It's a clogging, but that is what you're fighting against. But if you don't know that knowledge of how to fight against that, you're fighting against cancer and fighting against things that it's never going to help. It's never going to do a thing for it, because you think you're fighting this disease, and it's actually just a clogging. It's something that you need the blood flow. You need something to get rid of the cholesterol, and you got to stop eating high cholesterol. And,
Right.
I think we all know what that is, McDonald's, Burger King, all the fast food. Plus there's another thing in there that's it's a carcinogen. It causes cancer. So that on top of the meat makes not only the cholesterol go through the roof, but it makes that clog almost impossible to get out without some kind of either something to punch through it, or because just like a water pipe or something, once it gets so far back, rotor or nothing's going to get to the clog. You just
Right.
can't get anything to that clog. So now there's such a big problem. It just keeps getting worse and worse and harder.
So does it work like a diabetic thing, where they prick your finger and get the blood
Yes.
for that
Yeah.
and then you put it in whatever. Yeah, I used to know years ago a naturopathic doctor, and she cured a young man that had stage 4 lymphoma because his lymph nodes were just clogged, and it took her several weeks. She would, I don't know, somehow she did it, like massage the lymph nodes.
Right.
Have you ever heard of that?
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes,
it
because the lymph
took a
node,
while, but it did work.
right. Yeah, if you're
His
having
adrenal
any,
glands were clogged also.
right, and if you're having any of that, sometimes you'll have that under your arm, or you ever had a knot under your arm or feel sore under your arm? That's your lymph node. And they say if that's all your body trying to get that out. Sometimes it just is a toxin and it won't progress. And they say, to rub your shoulders and rub that all down. And that's where, spas, hot baths, different things like that help your body. And even sweating is another way to get it out as well.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to have one of those HDL and LDL meters.
Right. Well, I'll share it with you. It was supposed to come in today. So, but again, it takes a while to get these in. But once I get it, I'll share that. Probably going to do a whole nother video or another.
Yeah, if you could post the link, I would really appreciate that.
All right.
Steve posted a link of. Oh, okay, that's a news story, I think, about home cholesterol kits at home. Yeah, I didn't think about it being like a blood test for like diabetes, where you get the small blood sample, and that's awesome. That's really cool.
Right.
Why is smoked meat bad for you?
It's
It's
got
the carcinogens.
all the meat, even the meat, because we thought, we was doing good as well, reading those ingredients, and going to even meat markets and stuff. You have to know, because some of them add the coloring, and they add, I think it's called nitrate. There's a special
right.
additive that the FDA is
Nitrate.
approved. What's that?
Nitrates.
It is not.
Nitrate.
Yeah.
That's why
Oh,
now
okay.
in a while you'll see, if I don't eat a whole lot of meat, but I remember when you could go and see like hot dogs or bacon or whatever, and it would say no nitrates. It's been
Right.
many years ago they started stopping putting them in, I guess because people complain about that stuff.
Right. Which it's another one that I found out through research. It causes cancers, it causes lymphoma, it causes leukemia, the blood diseases, the blood cancers, because it goes through the blood, and that's what changes the blood. It actually changes the blood cells, because your stem cells are kind of anything, they can help your nose or your eye, your liver, they kind of go wherever they need to be. But once that corrupts that cell, then it can be whatever. It's confused, it don't know what to do, so it starts, and that's what causes it, and that's why it's so dangerous to, I would say, anybody. The older we get, we know our body has a harder time dealing with it. And to me, once you know this knowledge, it's just like, wow, it's a wonder that so many more people ain't got it. But when you go to these places and you see these cancer places that are full, it's like, wow, okay, yeah, I see what's going on. So we'll do the usual routine at the end here. As a supplement, and the root extract is available in the capsule, tincture, and the powder. And again, these little tinctures are great, but you have to watch them, because they have the alcohol or they have water with them, and you don't know how much you're getting or what you're truly getting. But if it is for someone younger, someone older, you can just, my goodness, you can open it up and put it in your mouth and put it on the body and rub it in. But for these here, what I recommend the best, especially if it's really important, something that you're trying to get blood pressure or a heart disease, the powder in the purest form you can get, is the best thing. That's the Chinese thing, the Chinese writing. And the white, this is pure, supposed to be 100% pure white peony root. So it does really good as far as, a lot of these things I kind of starting to see the higher ones from the lower ones. Like we all know turmeric and things like that are supposed to be really awesome. But, this to me is like 100 times better than turmeric, if not more. It just, and the ones that do instant things is another thing that I find is even better. Was there any more questions? Is it expensive? I think this one was $49 for the thing for this size here.
How long does it last?
If you take it like this, it lasts about 3 months. The more you take, the more it goes.
How long does it last your dad?
he is banned from this. He would munch this on his ice cream in like 2 days.
Ice
Yeah.
cream.
Now
That sounds
this,
a little counterproductive there.
yeah. Well, that's the thing with this stuff, though. I try to share it with everybody that has, issues and problems or whatever. And it's like, hey, and then they abuse it. And I'm like, nope, none for you. Like that little thing, none for you have.
Maybe Sean's wife can pack up some of her peonies that she grows up there. And
Right. And then we can test it and see,
Yeah.
which one is tastes better.
Well, I told her, I said, because I'm in my office and she's in the living room, I said, hey, you should grow some peonies in your gardens. And she goes, I have some. They're pink. They're the big pink pretty ones you like. They're in the backyard. I'm like, oh yeah. Said those are peonies. I'm like, oh,
Oh
no
wow.
idea.
There we go. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do too, is find some of these really good ones and then start growing them. And then, instead of buying them all the time, then you can grow them and then you really know what you're getting because it's right there. So I think that would be even better than, but a lot of them, there's so much research and so hard trying to find them is, what I've had a hard time trying to do. Any more questions or comments? If not, what's he say? I'm a vegetarian, but eat plain or veggie pizza a few times a month or less. You just have to check the ingredients of what they have. Some of the pizzas, they use eggs. I think Pizza Hut, I don't know about Papa John's, but I think Pizza Hut uses eggs in their frozen pizza if it's not fresh. So you just have to check the ingredients of what they put in it. And the main thing to worry about on that side of it would be what they use, if it is frozen, what they use for their preservative to keep it. So that's, just like with meat, if they use the nitrate and use that cancer causing additive to keep the meat, then that's a problem. And if they use something of that in that, I can research it and look it up. We've looked at them before. I forget what it is now. We've done so much research on those. Melissa, what you got?
I was watching a documentary called The Truth About Cancer, and there was a man on there, and he was in an Asian country. I can't remember which one. I'd have to watch it again. But he had a book, and he was showing his book with the cancer cures in it. And he said, well, you can't get this in English. And I'm not selling this in America. He said, because if anybody would sell it in America, they would kill them probably. So the only way you can get that book is if you go there and buy it.
Right. There's a lot of things in Mexico that is illegal here that you can buy in Mexico, or you can cross the border. Chipsa, some of the places that are cancer institutes or hospitals, you can either go through Florida or you can go through California, and they will transport you to Mexico. And the things that they use, like VG 5000 and some of the things that they use there, are actually illegal in the United States. Some of the procedures, again, lymphoma is another one that they, like what Sister Vicky was saying, you can brush it. If it's just a mild, like if it's one knot, you can almost kind of get that flowing and get that out of your system. If it's something bigger, they have a shot and they put into that, and your body recognizes that, because that's another big thing with cancer is it don't understand. It's your cells are just messed up and your body don't understand what's going on. But if you put something into this, then your body will recognize that's bad guys, right? That's the bad thing. And supposedly, according to the studies and 100+ years of it, your body will recognize that and it will never come back. You got another one, Melissa?
No, I just forgot to put my hand down.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got a lot of those books. There's an older couple that own Kale's Healthy Way, and I've done research with them. They got these old 1800, 1900 books that they use that you can't buy today, like you were saying, that you can't get today. And she's got them like taped up and everything like that. And I mean, they're like phone book, they're big, thick books that she has used, and then finding other people in other countries. But yeah, the research that I've found, if you come out publicly and trying to cure things and trying to write a book about it, then facts is we know these guys disappear. They either something happens to them or they wind up, so they wind up dead mysteriously. But but when you go these places and you see all these people, it's a big industry, anything else? Right, I have a couple of them books if you want to talk offline, maybe. There's a couple things, there's a lot of things that you can do with each disease, and that's what it really what I'm finding out is each thing, no matter what it is, there's a specific thing for it, and fighting it a specific way. Even sugars, breads, the keto diets, the different things like that. Paul Neeson, raw peanuts and different things like that of doing things. There's all kinds of people that have even from distilled water. There's a guy that has used distilled water for 6 months and said his cancer was gone. There's people that said they've used Andes Way wheatgrass. It's expensive. It's like $2.99 a month, but it's 2 shots of like pure wheatgrass. And there's people that said they took it for 2 months and they was cured too. So there's all kinds of different things to use, for your body. It just depends on where you're at, how you are, and how determined you are. There was a guy the other day, I think he was with, I forget who he was, but he had said he fasted for 40 days, like the 40-day fast. And he said after that fast, he went back and did a PET scan on his tumor, and it had shrunk like a third of this, there was only a third left of how big it was. And when he left the doctor, they told him it was incurable and basically he was going to die. So, I mean, there's all kinds of, and we're not going to leave prayer out. We're not going to leave Yahweh out, but there's all kinds of knowledgeable things that we can use, I believe, to help ourselves. So is there any more questions? If not, we're going to have a prayer service, and anybody needs prayer or anything like that. You know about the book when we get you the book. That's from that.
What? The book?
Yeah.
What's the name of the book?
The book is just like this: An Ancient Chinese Secret.
Oh. Fu Manchu.
Well,
Is it a secret book, really? Is it a book that can be ordered? Is that what it is?
there's some of them that's old. There's some old books that have but you can find them. I believe you can find the book. There's
You
just
can find them. I know you can.
Yeah,
find
you
them.
can find it. You can
I
find
have a ton of old books, really old books from like 1800s and stuff,
right.
history and things like that.
There's this one, I'll have to find it and I'll show you the link. There's this one that it does have different cures and different things in them for all kinds of things. So
Okay, we'll share the book information if you're able.
okay. All right. Well, shalom, brother. Thanks for showing up. And everybody else, we're going to switch it over to Brother Shafant. you there, brother? We're gonna let you. I still got this on, is it Facebook or YouTube live stream? Do you want that still going, or you want me to shut that off for the prayer service?
Hi, brother. Yes, I'm still here. Yeah, it would probably be better off.
Okay,
Yeah.
all righty.
Thank you.